Hello. It's been a while. How are you? Welcome to another episode of the Wannabe Entrepreneur. My name is Tiago, and it's been quite a while since I last posted an episode. I have no excuse, to be honest. Well, some excuses, I guess. I was traveling. I was in Valencia, really cool city, amazing city. If you follow me on Twitter, WB Tiago, you probably know already that I was there. I shared some nice food pictures, some nice paellas, and I'm a foodie. I mean, I love eating. I love trying new foods, and Spain is a great place to have some nice rices and tapas. And I'm getting hungry just by talking about that. So yeah, that was really cool. Before that, I don't know. It's been hard to kind of squeeze this 20 to 30 minutes slots to, record an episode. Not because I don't love you. I do. Thank you so much for listening to the Wannabe Entrepreneur. It's been a long time since we're talking with each other, and I'm sharing a bit of my entrepreneurial experience. I do love that. I do love speaking with you and sharing my journey. But I don't know. It's I don't want to say a hobby project, but it's kind of a hobby project, right? I mean, I don't make money necessarily with it, even though recently I got some new kind of Patreon of the Wannabe Entrepreneur. Actually, there's a link in the show notes if you want to support this show and give me some extra motivation to keep releasing episodes and sharing my learnings with you. It's $4, I think, per month that you can contribute with, and it's really cool. I was really excited to get a contribution, a Patreon. So thank you very much. Now, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get started because it's been a while and there's a lot of things to share with you. So let's start with, I guess, a less positive thing. So and it's a funny story. It's an interesting story. I think you'll like it. The end of the April, right where I'm at now. In the end of April, I was feeling really excited. And I'll tell you why. The month until more or less the last week was not extraordinary. I mean, it was okay. We're growing a little bit. Actually, we started April by not growing at all. We're actually decreasing. Then we started growing and breaking it even. But then the last week, it was crazy. The last week, I started getting so many new customers. And suddenly, our MRR was going up. And I think we closed the month with a growth of 14%. And I don't know, in this phase, when we are, Joe and I, my co-founder and I, we're just trying so many different things. We believe everything. It's kind of fake. It's similar to fake news, right? Fake news really work when they already kind of align with whatever you believe. So we believe that we are doing great work and eventually the results will follow. So once we saw those results, we kind of thought, it makes sense. I mean, we are doing great work and everything we're doing makes sense. So naturally we'll get, new customers. So I was excited. I was sharing to everyone a growth of 14%. I thought, okay, if we just keep, down this path, we'll reach the end of the year with my mythical number of 100K MRR. Which I still believe it's possible, by the way. Yeah, so I was sharing this. I shared this with everyone, my partner, with my friends, I guess. Not so much with my friends, with my family I did. I was seated down in our family dinner, and I was telling, the company's doing great and it's growing, and I want to get to the 1 million ARR. And my mother and they were laughing. And Tiago, I mean, it's still a big leap. And I was I remember I was kind of upset. I was why? How come they don't believe me? So I was kind of feeling a bit cocky. And the month finished and the weeks went by and the MRR was kept growing quite steadily. I was wow, it's amazing. I don't really understand why. Like, what did we do differently? But I guess just we are hitting escape velocity. And then once I was just working and I got a Stripe notification, I was, oh, cool, let me see. Wow, like $400 monthly. I was like, 400 monthly. We don't offer that. Like we don't offer packages that are for monthly. Like, what's going on? Maybe a mistake, maybe I saw it or something. I opened this Stripe notification, but it was right. It was monthly. And then it hit me. It totally hit me. The biggest mistake, probably one of the biggest mistakes I've done since I started Pod Squeeze. I was charging the annual plans monthly. Yeah, I was actually changing the prices in the end of April, and I made this terrible mistake. Instead of charging the annual prices annually, I started charging them monthly. Obviously, that the customers didn't notice because I was announcing them as monthly. So they would see on the website it's monthly, and then they didn't even notice on the Stripe checkout that it was actually, or rather, I was telling the website, sorry, it was annually, but they wouldn't see in the Stripe checkout that it was actually monthly. They were being charged monthly. So it didn't affect any of my customers because I caught this early on. So I just canceled their accounts and gave them 1 year subscription. So in the end, it was the same. But it did affect my confidence a lot because suddenly I went from the classic entrepreneur, like being on top of the mountain, thinking, yes, it's growing, everything is making sense, to huge churn, back to reality. Instead of like 14% growth, we had like maybe 5% growth, which is still good, but really far from that ideal growth that would eventually get us to our goal of 1 million ARR. So yeah, after that, the numbers didn't improve. Actually, the month of May has been very stale. I mean, it's growing, but like 1%. Yeah, so it kind of affected me for a little bit. Affected me until Valencia. What helped me through this, and what helps me, and what I recommend everyone doing, if it's your thing, it's meditation. Because I started getting really anxious, like I need to do something, and João and we just get anxious and we don't know because it's so frustrating. Like you just don't know. Like it feels that you're doing everything right, but then the results are just not there. So yeah, meditation, guided meditation. Just go on YouTube and search for whatever mindfulness, guided meditation, 10 minutes and chill out, and doing that once per day, especially when I'm feeling distressed or anxious, it really helps. It helps calming things down. And yeah, in Valencia, I was also working from there, which is really nice. I found some nice places, I went to a co-working space once, I went to a coffee place. It was good. It was chilled and allowed me to sit down, relax, and think more in long term. Actually, I think that's a issue that I still not controlling, which is I want results now. I want changes now, and sometimes it's just you need to see the big picture. And the big picture is seeing your numbers through a wider lenses. For instance, the month of May started quite poorly, and now it's improving. It's still not amazing, but it's improving. So sit down, look at your metrics. I think it's really important to like plot everything you can, really. And for me, for Pod Squeeze, there's a few metrics that are really crucial. MRR, it's a consequence. Like MRR is a good metric, yes, yada yada, but it's a consequence of your actions, right? So if you only follow MRR, you are already behind, because when MRR is going down, mostly it's because of actions that you have done in the past. And a few things, like sometimes we change things on the website, or like actually we introduce bugs and we don't notice them directly, and eventually we'll see the MRR and I'll see like, when did this happen? And I go back and okay, maybe this was it. So there's other metrics, definitely. I think MRR in the end is a consequence, is good, but it's kind of a vanity metric. We share this on Twitter because it brings likes, but actually it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show even, it's not even profit, to be honest. Like a lot of people might have like huge MRR, but in the end they might be losing money. So a few metrics that are really relevant for us. First of all, like I recommend everyone doing this, really. Figure out where your customers coming from. So every time someone registered on PodSqueeze, there's like a huge model and they can select Reddit, Google search, in the podcast, Instagram. Measure this because then you can really see how impactful your marketing efforts are. And this allowed me to really focus on the channels that work. For instance, we were like trying Reddit recently and it was not working. I mean, we're putting a lot of efforts in getting maybe 7 new accounts per week or so, which is very low. So just for you to understand, from Google, we get around 130, 120 new accounts per week. And then we have like YouTube with 30, 35, whatever, 40 new accounts, which is still a big difference. And then we have like recommended by a friend, blah, blah, and then like Reddit was getting like 4 accounts. And we're putting a lot of effort into that. So allowed me to also think, okay, maybe let's stop on Reddit and let's try new channels. So yeah, figuring that out, having that plotted is really important. Second one, and for me it's also quite important, which is like how many episodes are being converted per week. So I can see that it's growing. So it means that people are, they enjoy PodSqueeze. Then churn is really good. Churn is very important. What else? Conversion rates. Conversion rates are really important. And I have everything plotted. I have like number of new accounts per month, and then number of new paid accounts, and then like I do a kind of conversion and see if conversion is keeping the same or not, which was really helpful because we increased the prices recently. We increased the prices. I did an episode about that, and we are like trying to figure out if it was actually good or a bad thing. But then I look at the conversion, and I see that it's more or less the same. So it's fine. Even though like actually if we look at the numbers and we are getting less new customers. And at first she was like, no, something is wrong. Our conversions are probably down. Like increasing pricing was a bad idea. But it was not, because we can see conversions and we see conversions the same. So we don't get carried away with all this kind of misinformation, because having less customers might mean 1,000 things. It might just mean that maybe we're getting less views on the website and therefore converting less, because maybe there was a problem with our Google, which we had the problem with Google, by the way. It can just be that it's a poor month. People are just focusing on whatever other things, elections and I don't know, any news, a new Netflix series. They just focus on other stuff. And that might also impact our conversion, our number of views, everything. So measure everything. It's crucial. I recommend everyone and make decisions based on that. Now, next thing that changed my way of working recently, and it really also helps me calm down and have a little bit less anxiety, is instead of checking my metrics every freaking day, check them with an interval. So, for instance, I used to always check, let's say, the efforts of my YouTube. Like before actually starting and going to Valencia, I was very stressed out with YouTube as well, like shorts, and trying to figure out how YouTube shorts were working and so on. And I was stressed out about that because I was also always looking at it. I was like sharing a short, and it's like I know that it will take about 4 to 6 hours for YouTube to start sharing the short with the world. So I'll be anxious and like waking up and check the numbers. Yeah, that's wrong. That's not the way you should do it, because as well, you don't have enough information. You need to wait a little bit. Sometimes one short is not enough. Sometimes you need to try 4, 5, 6 shorts and then make decisions based on that. So now these days, what I do is, let's say I mark in my calendar review days. So if at the moment working with shorts. Our VA is working with our shorts. And I, instead of me checking every day, I'll be like, okay, every week there's one day where I'll be checking shorts. I'll do my like full review and make a decision. Either do different content, either quit, either do more, do less, whatever. I make a decision. And then I wait another week and I review that decision. And if I notice that every week it's just too often, because there's no other decision, there's no enough new information for me to make a proper decision, I will then expand this. And instead of checking every week, I'll check every other week and so forth. And that's what I'm doing with everything. We're like managing our contractors with new features we release, everything has a time to be reviewed instead of being all over the place and always being reviewing and being really unfocused. So yeah, those are a few things that I've learned recently. Now tomorrow, it's currently 2 a.m. so I need to go to bed because I need to wake up at around like 7:30 to catch a flight. We are going to London, baby. Yeah, we're going to a conference in London. It's going to be really exciting. It's a conference about podcasting, the podcasting show. By the way, if you are in London, if you're going to this show, yeah, just say hi. But it's the first time we are going to a like full big conference all around podcasting. We, as you know, we did a few sponsored events and so on, but this is the first time it's like a huge, like big conference, the biggest probably in Europe. There's then others bigger in the US, but this is a great way for me to figure out if it's actually worth it. Like we paid, probably like $2,000 for me and João to go get the tickets, flights, hotels, or Airbnb, everything. So yeah, it takes a lot of effort to go to such conferences. My goal is not to get new customers. Like for us, we are a kind of B to small b. We need a lot of customers. So it's not going to a conference to get 5 new customers that will make a big shift, right? It's not worth the money and the time. But it's more to get deep into the industry, the podcasting industry. I really feel that if we want to grow as Pod Squeeze, as a company, we really need to dive deep into the podcasting industry and belong and be part of it and understand what's going on, understand who are the players, understand what are the needs of the customers of the industry. So we need to be there. We need to be in these kind of conferences. We need to be there as well for potential partnerships, right? Meeting people, potentially opening up, doing some networking. And who knows, maybe find someone that one day might eventually be interested in acquiring Pod Squeeze, which is still obviously a possibility, mostly because that's how you make money. It's selling a company. It's funny, I was recently talking with Francesco, founder of Tally. Before that, it was founder of Mailbrew, which was sold. And I don't know if I can share the number, so I won't, but he was also like making around 15K MRR or so with Mailbrew, and they sold it for a really good amount, like a good amount of money that would make me quite happy, to be honest. So it's possible to sell it for this. And funny enough, I was chatting with him, and I did learn it's so cool to speak with someone he's now making, my goal, which is 1 million ARR. He's making that with Tally. So I was not Tally. I'm stupid. It's called Typefully, not Tally. Sorry. Typefully is Francesco's company. So in the end, it was funny because there was no like magic pill. There was nothing that he was doing entirely different. So it also makes me think that in general, market size is really important. So podcasting, it's just not a huge market. So it's hard to, we grew a bit, and now it's harder. Like now we got to the early adopters much faster, and now we are trying to get to the mainstream. And sure, like there's big companies in our area that are making millions. They're making a lot of money. And if you compare them with us, we are like a fucking ant. We are very small. But to get there, that's the hard part. So yeah, that's also something that we'll be learning. I mean, we learned this a while ago, but yeah, size of the market matters. It does matter, size of market. And I don't know, maybe that's something to take in consideration when you are starting your next product potentially. Yeah. Besides that, I mean, nothing much. It's chill. We're still trying to figure out how to improve, how to get out. I still believe a lot in Pod Squeeze. Yeah. Besides that, recently working with the community was fun. I gave full access to GPT to the community in terms of like I want to create an AI that participates as another member, and it's actually quite cool. So every time now, someone goes there and writes something in the Slack, the bot will answer. Not every time. It's a bit tricky to find a good interval so that that doesn't get too spammy. But yeah, that was really fun. Like it really makes me think what's the future of AI, because I had very interesting conversations with the bot, and actually was very. Sometimes I feel like the bot it's more valuable than some of the members. Like it's more knowledgeable for sure than even myself, obviously, because it has access to the whole internet. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, like AI? And there was this huge kind of, or not huge, but kind of scandal on Twitter, indie Twitter, where Peter Levels introduced his kind of therapist AI, which is, in his words, a lot of people they don't get it cannot afford therapists. They're too expensive, so they can now just chat with his bot, AI bot, and it was somehow trained. I don't know how he did it, but it was somehow trained to give you a free or consultation. Now, a lot of people were giving him shit, saying like, okay, you cannot do that. Obviously, it cannot replace a therapist, and in a way, it's true. And I would not do that. It's very dangerous, in my opinion, to call AI bot a therapist and sell it because without having any proper regulation, right? Because it can do harm, right? It can do more harm than good. So I'm not a huge fan of the idea, but I also don't know enough to give an opinion. But yeah, a lot of people are really upset with this. But in another way, I mean, I've chatted with a lot of AI, not a lot, like GPT in general. I wrote it to it. I work with it. Even if you install the app, you can speak with it, and it's amazing. I mean, it's like speaking with a human, and I really believe that these days, with proper training, yeah, it's passing the Turing test for sure. Like you can be talking with an AI without realizing that. So I wonder, like, what's the future? It's like AI friends, AI girlfriends, AI partners, teachers. Is that the future? I mean, maybe. And it's so interesting. I was even talking or listening when I was in these like shorts and trying to figure out how to do YouTube shorts. It's funny that now these days you have like teenagers. They are 18 years old. They are like 15 years old, and they make millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands with shorts because they figure out the algorithm and they know. And the cool thing about shorts is that like the barrier of entrance is so low. You can just literally grab your phone, and sometimes you don't even need that. You can just use AI, and that's my point. You can just use AI to make videos. You can generate everything, the voices, the images, everything. And there's a few, if you go on YouTube and start diving deep into that, there's a few channels where they say like, okay, let's reach $1,000 per whatever week with only AI videos, and they succeed. At least it seems that they succeed. But there's one in particular. Her name is Jenny Hoyes or something. There's a bunch of interviews with her on YouTube. They call her the Queen of Shorts, and she's making tons of views. And funny enough, when she speaks about it, she already introduced a bunch of AI tools. She just says like, yeah, I use AI to analyze thousands of scripts of my competitors and figure out what works, and then I use another AI to generate whatever the best script. I don't even know, but it's so interesting to see like these very very young people using AI already in their favor to analyze data, to figure shit out. And the way she speaks is incredible. I mean, she's 18, but like it seems that she's a full adult with like years and years of experience. Now, it can also be that she is being tricked by the algorithm. And I was so frustrated because in the end, like figuring out an algorithm is a bit of luck. I mean, yeah, you can try out a few things. You're just like reverse engineering something that a human created. And in the end, if the human decides to change it, you have no idea. Like you go back to square zero. So it's not like learning physics. That like physics, they don't learn that often. They don't change that often, rather. So it's good because if you learn it, it will be a skill for the rest of your life. Learning an algorithm, yeah, if it changes, then you just lose everything you learn. But yeah, it's cool to see youngsters and people very young teaching the grown-ups and teaching the old school people because they're able to use these tools so easily. Funny enough, Jenny, she actually, this YouTuber, she offers consultation, and she just answered me, 1 hour consultation, $1,000, and I'm actually considering it. Like, if she can really give us tips that would take me months and months to reach, like she figured out for sure, at least the current version of the algorithm. So for $1,000, I can have that information. I think it makes sense. I think it does make sense. And if then I can use that for, YouTube, for Pod Squeeze, yeah, why not, right? I mean, it's been a bit hard to convince João, my co-founder, but I don't know. I like this idea. I might follow through and see. First of all, I need to make sure I'm not getting scammed, and this is actually her on LinkedIn. But yeah, that's the first thing. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm sorry for the silence and skipping a few weeks, but I'm back, and tomorrow going to London, and I'll see you next week. Yeah, this was another one to be entrepreneur. Have a great week. Enjoy. Bye bye.